All right. There we are.
We are here.
It's a show. We made it. Welcome to
Yay.
Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 338. Your
Yep.
once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, but an even better way to show some support is head on over to craftcomputing.store, pick up one of our pint glasses, bottle openers, whiskey stones, coasters. We have everything you need to start drinking like a pro. Obviously, we drink alcohol in the show. If you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, you can give me even more money by joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description.
That's right.
As a bonus,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I
as
was
a
going to
bonus,
say the
you'll
super
get...
secret part is the money.
Yes.
That's the money. Give the money. That's the super secret part. Go ahead. Sorry.
It'll give you exclusive access to the Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
I apologize. I interrupted your rhythm, but that struck me as funny, so I had to say it.
It's a secret. Give me
It's
money.
a secret. Just give me money.
Yeah. Allison says, Patreon is worth it. Join. Yes, please do. We are starting off strong tonight. Coffee and Cynicism is drinking not coffee, but a lot of cynicism.
Yeah.
Paladin Brewing Barrel-Aged Brum, 15% ABV.
Is that a typo? I've never heard of Brum before.
They typed Brum twice, so I'm assuming that is not a typo.
Barrel aged. I don't. Brum. I don't know what that is. That sounds like something Dr. Steve would say. This is for your Brum.
Right?
Just drink the Brum.
Just drink the Brum. Yeah, I'm not familiar with a Brum as far as a style or anything. Yeah.
Barrel aged Brum. I got to look that up honestly because I've never heard of that before. Sugar beet single cask Brum.
It's a rum-style drink that is made in a similar enough style to beer. Hold on.
So it's like sugarcane beer?
It's sugarcane beer. A Brum is a rum-style drink that is made in a similar enough style to beer that we are allowed to make it and sell it. So it's not a distilled spirit. So basically, they are mashing a sugarcane and fermenting that and then turning it into beer. So it's not a distillate, but it's still like a sugarcane barrel aged.
Wow, that's got to be insanely sweet.
Barrel aged, gluten free, 30 proof, completely clear. I need to have one of those.
I do too. I'm super intrigued.
That sounds incredible.
It's kind of rare when I have not heard of something like beer related.
Yeah,
and I've never heard of Brum before.
Yeah. Got me on that one.
Yeah.
I'll
have to keep an
Coffee, P.O. Box, down in the video description.
Yeah, there we go.
Hit me up, bro. Get me some of that. Any bets on Jeff's Nick overheating during the stream? Don't put that evil on me. So last couple weeks it has overheated during the stream. Last Friday during the special live stream, I actually just went back down to my gigabit Nick. But I am on the 100 right now, so who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Let's see. Rev's cracking into a juicy drama from 10 Barrel over in Bend, Oregon. 3.78 on Untapped. 9.6%. Let's see. Novella's got an Adroit Theory. Dia de los Muertos. Russian Imperial Stout, 13.7%. I'm guessing it was that kind of day.
For Dia de los Muertos sounds like a real serious type of a beer. Day of the Dead beer.
Yeah.
I'm dead. Give me a beer.
Given that the average ABV coming in so far is 13.5%.
Yeah.
Kind kind of tells you something about.
Or I mean, it could be. It's kind of the beginning of summer vacation for a lot of people too. And maybe they're just like, you're gonna celebrate because it's nice out.
Could be,
and it is nice out.
I will say I'm having beer during the show, but I'm gonna have a gin and tonic in the after party. Like I've already got that lined out. So the bee's knees coming in with a paltry 8%.
Oh, the bees! I've had the bee's knees before. Is that the stick?
No, that's the user.
Oh, that's the user. Okay.
The bee's knees. Drinking a straight to ale turbo generator German style Doppelbock.
8% for a Doppelbock's still pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Doppelbocks are delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a day, so my fridge started making weird noises, and I think it's dead because all of the ice turned to water in the upper section.
So that means you need me to come over and help you drink all the beer before it goes bad?
It's still in the closed cooler, and so it's still like 60 degrees.
All right.
Like I could probably leave that closed, and now it's just a cellar, so it's not that dire of a need. I appreciate the sacrifice you're willing to make.
I was willing to go over there and help you out.
That, and I could literally just put it into my cellar. There's a concrete slab in my crawl space just behind this wall that stays 59 year round.
Yeah. No, I keep my big barrel aged beers down in my daylight basement in the cupboard at the bottom, and it stays like a good 50, 55, 56, 50, 70 degrees year round.
The crawl space in my house is kind of odd. So you crawl through a hole in the laundry room wall that's like a 3-foot tall cutout or something like that. But then I, at 6'5", can stand underneath the main section of the house. And actually it goes down almost to 8 feet as it slopes to one side. So there's legit like an 8 or 9 foot cement wall as part of our foundation on the far end of the house. And then over here, it's closer to 6 foot. But I can stand under the entire like bottom section of the house. Also, our utilities are not like in closets in the house or like hidden walls or anything like that. My furnace and my water heater are both in the crawl space because there's plenty of room for it.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so it's not taking up any closet space anywhere in the house. But they put my water heater on a 6-inch 4-walled concrete slab. It's like 4 feet tall, probably 6 or 8 feet wide, and then probably close to 4 feet deep as well. And it's just this 6 foot or 6-inch rim of concrete all the way around.
So let me get this straight. It's in the laundry room, right?
Yeah.
So it's in the laundry room, and you crawl through a hole. And then on the other side of this hole is a bunch of beer and HVAC units. That's not storage space. That's redneck Narnia you got there in your house.
Right. Yes, redneck Narnia.
Yeah, yes, you got it.
Do you have to move a cabinet to get to the door? A la being John Malkovich. Actually, there is a panel on the wall with 2 like cabinet handles on them, and it's just magnetically attached, and so it literally just pops off the wall and sets aside.
Nice. It becomes the world's biggest fridge magnet too. You just put it on your fridge too.
Yeah. Jeff's safe room. Yeah.
Safe space. Yeah, it's your safe space.
Yeah. There's enough beer to last me a while.
You got to put, Vault 78 or something on the outside of it or something.
Yeah, there we go. Dig it out and make it a fallout shelter. The thought crossed my mind especially, you look over at furs and whatnot. There's no reason in the world I couldn't dig down a little further, put a doorway in that space, walk in, and then like lay down foundation and put up some additional walls. Now, the main structure of the house is held up by pier blocks underneath the main joists under the house. They have pier blocks coming down in the center sections to support them. So I'd need to figure out some kind of bracing system. But then there's no reason I couldn't dig the rest of it out and have like a 700 square foot underground section in my house.
Yeah, they'll cook some meth down there or whatever.
I've considered it. It's
craft computing brand meth. It's fine.
Yeah. No, and I could totally go Colin Furs on the secret underground bunker project. Like,
yeah,
just take it up a laundry basket at a time.
yeah. I mean, you got a bunch of little kids. They got tiny hands. They could dig into small places, and
right.
It's good stuff.
Anyway, it's going to be a good show. Adobe seems to not like the gravy train that they have, and they keep pissing people off. Let's see. The title story, I'm sure all of you are interested in, is GPU virtualization is about to get a lot easier. We'll dive into that. And Epic has some leaks because of some unofficial databases that have been like publicly accessible for a long time, and someone just figured out, hey, what if we look in those files? And it has a whole bunch of unreleased games listed in it. So,
unannounced games.
Unannounced games.
Unannounced games, yeah.
Right. So, Jeff, you beat me to it. Just get Furs to help you. I don't know if he wants to fly literally halfway around the world to help me dig a bunker. Like, I'm sure his, I mean, what he's doing with his underground garage, lifting a DeLorean out from, like, no, you stay and you finish that, Colin. I want to see that done. If anyone was going to help close by, it would probably be Zach from Jerry Rig. Because he just built a bunker. He put a couple drainage pipes underneath. So he took some 12-foot corrugated sewer pipe and buried them 20 feet below ground. And then built an elevator for his wife Cambry, who's also wheelchair bound. So they have an elevator going down to their bunker, and they're just in Utah, so they're not that far.
That's not too far, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, everyone was going mad with bunker projects this last year, including that lady in New Jersey who... did you see that one, by the way?
Well, didn't she get like in trouble with the?
Oh yes,
because she went everywhere. She went like, she was just like, I just like digging. I'm making a digging. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah,
and there's a difference between Colin or Zach digging in their property lines.
Yeah,
she dug hundreds of feet away, 100 feet underground.
Yeah, she was going under other people's property and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She didn't want an underground bunker. She wanted an underground labyrinth.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was scary how some of that was put together. Like some of the images that came out of that.
Yeah, that was another thing that I heard, that it wasn't exactly structurally sound.
No.
Or that it wasn't up to code. I'm not too sure. I mean, it probably might have been fine, but it was not up to code.
Not that far down, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No, it was scary the way some of it was built. So, like, I'm all for people doing whatever they want to their property. But at the same time, it's like, there's still got to be some rules.
Yeah. You gotta, yeah. Well, there's, when you do build a bunker, you have to keep ventilation into consideration, or you will die down there. There's all kinds of things that you have to think of and consider. It's not like you can't just dig a hole and put cement walls up and be, this is good.
Mm-hmm. Allison says, then before Jeff moves to a disused Minuteman silo, I've looked.
Those are things.
Yeah.
They do exist. I believe there was one recently sold in southeastern Washington.
Mm-hmm.
That was for sale. I mean, it was as is. You had to like take everything. I mean, the missile was gone, I hope.
Right.
But I believe it sold like for $1 million or something like that. It was
it wasn't that long ago that you could get like 2-acre patches with a Minuteman silo on them in like Montana for like $240,000.
Yeah.
Like 15,000 square foot bunkers that are 100 feet down underground and have these giant silos in the center of them.
I would just want to put a giant trampoline at the bottom of the silo. So you could just jump down. It'd be fun.
The spring rate needed for that would be insane because, as they say, it's not the fall, it's the sudden stop that kills you.
That's true. Well, maybe one of those big, giant inflatable things that stuntmen use or something like that,
No, you know what I would want? I would want to put a giant fan at the bottom so I could use it like skydiving training.
Oh, like the iFly places or something like that.
Yeah. That's how I would go.
That would be kind of cool. I think you need a special suit for that too. You need like super loose, a super like really baggy 90s parachute pants type suits because it needs to catch the air.
You got to get the full flight suit.
Yeah, you got to get the full flight suit. Yeah.
Yeah, the full flying squirrel, as they say.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been gabbing for enough, and I'm a little thirsty.
Okay.
So what do you got? What do you got on tap tonight, Steve?
So this month, we have my nephew is getting married, and he's going to have a big wedding with an open bar and everything like that at the end of this month. And so me and my wife decided to give our livers a rest before we try and kill it at the end of the month. So I'm going NA this week, and I have 2 NA beers. One is from Crux. It's called a Nomo. Nomo
I've
Hazy.
Had that one.
Yeah, this one is quite good. And then,
Nomo Hazy. I've had their Nomo IPA.
No, this is the Hazy. This is a new one, I believe, that came out this year. And then the king of NA beers, Athletic. It's from their pilot program called Dark Illusion. And I honestly do not know what kind of beer it is. Being Dark Illusion, I'm guessing it's a stout or a porter of some kind. But it does not say on the can what style it is. So it's just gonna be like a surprise. But I'm guessing it's gonna be like a porter or stout or something.
Yeah. So I've got from Schilling Cider House.
No, cider.
Yeah. Pineapple Passion Fruit Excelsior Imperial Pineapple Cider.
Oh yeah, they make good. Isn't that like your wife's favorite?
Yes.
They're that cidery.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they make a Moscow Mule inspired cider that is just freaking amazing. They have an apple pie cider.
Oh, I've had that one. That one is real good. Yes,
that is so good.
It is quite reminiscent of apple pie.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a Schilling pineapple cider to start things off, and then from Cascade Lakes Brewing, I have this IPA.
Wow, it's an inventive name for this IPA.
Yep. 7.2%, just a standard Northwest IPA.
Okay. Yeah, Northwest IPAs are good.
But no, I'm gonna start with the cider.
Okay. I'm gonna do the hazy IPA first.
There we go. And cheers to all of you. Jagged It is drinking 7 Tiki rum, 35%, and Coke Zero. Oh, mistake with the Coke Zero.
Yeah, that's one diet soda I cannot stand is Coke. It's just not reminiscent.
And if you're gonna add a crap ton of sugar to it, if you're literally adding distilled sugar cane to it,
right,
just go with a Coke.
Yeah, that's what I do. My neighbor used to do Diet Cokes and rum all the time, and I couldn't stand them.
Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna go full sugar or not.
Yeah, no, I have a really hard time with artificial sweeteners anyway.
Me too.
But especially aspartame, it's like no.
Yeah, it gives me like headaches and heartburn and all kinds of issues, and I just don't like it. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is not a bad substitute. It's kind of very reminiscent of a hazy hop water. It's pretty good.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I've had a number of athletics.
Well, this is the Crux. But
that's the Crux.
This is the Crux.
Okay, that's right. Like I said, no, I've had the Crux Nomo IPA, and that was pretty good. It actually had a fair amount of body to it, like a surprising amount of body to it. More so than your hop waters. But yeah. All right. I love the irony in the ads on this article, by the way. You'll see what I mean when I bring this up. But diving into today's news, Adobe is ruffling some feathers, rightfully so, with some new terms of service that basically give Adobe access to your content that you generate for the purposes of content moderation and other various reasons. So just let that that kind of sink in.
Mm-hmm.
They can see everything you do. Now, here's the deal. Some people have fought back a little bit about this. It always amuses me when someone stands up for the little corporation. But some people have fought back to this in that the content that they can view from you is anything within their cloud storage system. So your local files, they can't sniff that.
Okay.
They might use it for AI training. They say they don't, but they probably do.
You know that they are, yeah.
But they can view your online content, your created content, for the purposes of content moderation and other various uses. That is not okay. It is absolutely not okay. Whether Google or whether Adobe, you're hosting those files with Adobe's cloud services or not. Google shouldn't be able to look at what's in my Google Drive.
Right.
You know, they should have metadata tags on your files, and they probably do. And if a file is reported, then they just flag that metadata flag, and that file is removed. If it gets a number of reports for illegal sharing or DMCAs or, illegal content or whatever it happens to be. That's all that the company, the corporation, the cloud service provider is required to do, is act in good faith on reports of illegal activity. That doesn't mean they need to verify the illegal activity. They just need to act on reports of it. And that's actually all part of the DMCA, is a good faith report is made by a claiming company, and the content host, in this case, Google or Adobe, says, we've received reports, we're pulling your content. And that's how that system's supposed to work. This looks like explicit review of content.
Yeah, and like with cloud file sharing, I understand that because there's pirated stuff that people want to take down. There's, pirated movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. They don't want to be held responsible for somebody hosting that on, Google Drive or whatever. But these are pictures, these are photos. Outside of like maybe some CP or something like that, what exactly is it that would be copywritten? I mean, so you may be storing some Ansel Adams pictures on your drive. Who cares, right? That's not. I don't think that's illegal at all. So what exactly are they monitoring?
Section 2.2 of the terms of use. Our access to your content. We may access, view, or listen to your content, defined in Section 31, content below, through both automated and manual methods, but only in limited ways and only as permitted by law. For example, in order to provide the services and software, we may need to access or view to your content, respond to feedback or support requests, detect, prevent, or otherwise address fraud, security, legal, or technical issues. Blah, blah, blah. Our automated systems may analyze your content and Creative Cloud customer fonts using techniques such as machine learning in order to improve our services and software and user experience. Now, part of that, like let's just pick one piece out of this. Our automated systems may analyze your content and Creative Cloud customer fonts. They're specifying fonts, and the reason for that is you can't use copyrighted fonts unless you own a license. And so if someone submits a license violation for a font, they're able to see what fonts you have in there.
I have never heard of a license. I mean, to be fair, I don't deal with that much.
Fonts and colors are so contentious because some fonts are widely available. Creative Commons, open source licenses, whatever else.
I've downloaded lots of open sourse fonts.
Some fonts are free for private use, but not for commercial use. Others have explicit commercial use licensure. I've done this with a number of different pieces of media. I've purchased the rights for sound effects, for fonts, for specific pieces of media. Some of the artwork that I've done, like here on my glassware, this was actually part of a licensed piece of media that I purchased for unlimited content creation with it. And then I bought a piece of artwork as a essentially as a stencil guide, so I could put together my circuit pattern. I liked the design of that and fit it to meet my needs. I could have probably designed the circuits myself or designed the individual components to do that, but the license was like $100. And so it's like, here's your $100. Now I can just use this as a stencil package.
Right.
And paid my license, read the license terms. I am allowed to modify. I am allowed to use it for commercial means. I am allowed to put it on merchandise or put it on websites or anything else. Like I read through the full licensure and
$100, that's not that bad of a deal, honestly. I mean, if you were to pay somebody to custom make that for you, or if you were to take the time and do it yourself, that would cost over $100 of your time or somebody else's time that you would pay.
Just laying out this circuit design on here, I know it seems kind of simple. Oh, he just threw circuits on there. Aesthetically getting them to look good, making all the lines on here connect to one another. Or terminate in some way. And all of my circuit designs do that, with the exception of one. There's one design that does not terminate all my leads. It's just too small. But I'm probably 20 or 30 hours into just sitting down and playing with this and trying it on the laser. And the other thing you have to watch out for is heat buildup in your product while you're etching things like this. So you can only have so many elements of a certain size that need to be etched in a certain way. So the back and forth between me and a designer to do this would have been thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Instead, I paid a $100 license to get access to the assets for this, and then designed it myself. So I have paid licensure for, fonts. I've licensed a couple fonts on the channel. I have licensed some sound effects. I've licensed artwork. There's a really contentious one out there as well. Color.
Yeah. Yes, I heard about that. Yeah.
Pantone. Color. If you have an image that you capture with your camera, let's say, and that image happens to contain specific wavelengths or specific hex values, they may show up as black in Photoshop because you don't have a license to that color. And you can test this for yourself. There's some known values out there that are copyrighted colors by Pantone.
Really?
And if you try to use them in Photoshop, they will appear black.
So if you get the hexadecimal colors of those particular colors,
and in Adobe's color wheel and color slider, those values specifically are excluded. So if you're incrementing by like one hex value at a time, it'll skip certain hex values because those are copyrighted colors. You can manually set those colors, but those colors will show up as black.
Interesting. Now, is that a license with the licensed version of the latest one, or with older versions of
That's with
Photoshop?
like every version of Photoshop.
Really?
This is dating back like 20 years. Yeah.
I've never run into the issue, but then of course I was never like screwing around with palettes that much.
Right. But no, that's a known thing. And so, a lot of this is probably to do with copyright. A lot of this is probably to, what you alluded to earlier, explicit material, underage material, illegal material. But at the end of the day, there's ways to do this with cloud-hosted storage that don't require manual reviews without your authentication and approval. There's some serious legal liabilities here because Adobe is used by creative professionals. This is not some, fly-by-night thing. This is used by every creative professional I know, or has been, or was at some point, or whatever else. What happens if I'm creating a piece of artwork and I have an NDA? What happens if I'm, creating a set of slides for an Intel release, and I have an NDA and I happen to be saving that in the cloud? Those are not to be viewed outside of my company, outside of my organization. What if I'm working on a blockbuster film? Does Adobe get a watch my rough cut
Oh yeah.
early?
Oh, or what if so if they have this licensed user agreement and if there's a leak of something, just say like that, because there have been leaks in the past of movies that were in the middle of being worked on and stuff like that. So, or would they be responsible if there was a security breach?
If there is a breach, if there is a leak and it comes back to Adobe and their content moderation team, I can only imagine
Yeah.
the legal S-storm that would be brewing from that. And I don't care what size organization they end up breaching. Um, you know, like, look, I have NDAs. I have things that I've been briefed on as far as product launches that I'm not allowed to talk about. And but if I started making a thumbnail for a certain product and then that was leaked, right. Yes, they violated my NDA, and the companies that trusted me with that might get a little upset, but I'm small potatoes. But the implication that a leak can happen because of something like that.
Yeah. That's bad news.
That's bad news.
Bad news, yeah.
Right. And the thing is, I don't care that this doesn't apply to your local files. To me, it doesn't matter where your files are. Adobe has no right looking at them. They have absolutely no right to the content you produce. They have absolutely no claim to the content you produce.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to just result in people shying away from using the cloud system.
I can confirm one guy that I know. I'm not going to name any names in case they want to make an announcement themselves, but you all probably know him too. Canceled his Adobe subscription today.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pirated version doesn't have any access to their cloud system anyway, so yeah. I mean,
well, they moved over to Affinity.
Okay, Affinity. All right.
Which is a package of applications. And I guess a universal license is like a lifetime license is like $82 right now. I'm looking at it just to have it. Because that's what I spend on Adobe per month. Now, I've been working on getting off of Adobe for probably the last 3 months or so. Simply because I don't want to pay $65, $80 a month anymore.
Somebody cut some,
for apps. But as Cosworth says in Super Chat, thank you so much for the $2, Cosworth. So, Linux alternatives looking better and better. I hate the people who, why do you need Photoshop? There's GIMP. GIMP is not Photoshop.
Yeah, GIMP is
it has Photoshop. Nothing even approaching. GIMP is closer to Paint than it is Photoshop. Okay.
Well, paint.net. Let's be a little generous.
Okay. Microsoft 3D Paint. How's that?
Yeah, 3D Paint. Yeah.
It is not Photoshop. It does not have the tool set of Photoshop. It does not have the professional polish. It does not have the interface. It doesn't have anything that a creative professional would actually use. Inkscape is not Illustrator. Audacity is not Audition. Although Audacity is probably the closest of them all. But there are tool sets within Adobe's programs that are literal workflows for large creative companies. Yeah. Myself included. Now, I've recently switched over to DaVinci Resolve. I've edited my last 10 videos in DaVinci Resolve. I think it's 10. It's around 10.
Yeah, you were saying that you're really enjoying it. It's like it took you a while at first. Of course, like there's always a learning curve,
I still find, little processes that I had a thing that I developed in Premiere because until you run into a situation in a live project, you just kind of shuffle that away, where there's a learning curve to Adobe Premiere too, don't get me wrong, but I've got 8 years of Adobe Premiere under my belt, and problem solving that I've already done, and processes that I've established, and shortcuts and plugins and all kinds of things that work to get the results that I want. And I don't have that in Resolve. So when one of those problems comes up, I go, how did I solve that in Premiere? And then I go look for the tool set, and it's, that tool doesn't exist. But there's another tool over here that does something completely different that would mix with this tool, gives you the same result. And it's the same thing with Premiere. Like, I wouldn't take that process in Resolve and go over to Premiere and expect to just replicate the results, So it's not bad versus good. It's just different.
Different. Yeah, it's just different ways of doing things. Yeah.
But you can get the same result, and that's something you can't say with GIMP versus Photoshop or Illustrator versus Inkscape. Mm-hmm. You get better results and more polished results with Photoshop. But there are some up-and-comers. Affinity is the one that a lot of my creative friends have been talking about. Like I said, I'm probably going to go snag a license this week just to give it a look, because if I'm being honest, Photoshop is my one big holdout. And I think it is for a lot of people. You know, I am so comfortable within my workflow with Photoshop for creating thumbnails and graphics and things like that. And I've never... And again, the tools are not there in GIMP. The auto select object is not there in GIMP.
Oh my, yes.
I can manually select an object, but then the layering is the layering doesn't even work the same in GIMP.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a completely different ethos of workflow. I've heard good things about Affinity. I'm probably going to try Affinity. Man, if I can get Affinity, if I can make that work for me, and I can finally kick Photoshop out,
you will.
Could be a thing.
Well, I mean, this I guess got to see how it works. I mean, it looks like it's well, no, I mean, I'm kind of looking at it. It looks like it's geared towards a whole lot of things: artists, photo editors, yeah, all kinds of stuff. So maybe.
Yeah, it seems like the one tool that genuinely has professional chops and genuinely has a good chance at stealing some audience, if people want to do it. The other thing that I like, perpetual license. Yeah. $80, $85, I think right now. You get an individual license that's for you. You can install it on as many machines as you want. Don't break licensure. If you own a company, buy one license per person. That's the way you should do things. But you know, people still deserve to get paid for their work. But at the same time, I've paid Adobe for their work like 150 times over, and their work keeps getting worse.
Yeah. Well, it looks like actually for the $80, the $82.99, you get Designer 2, Photo 2, and Publisher 2. You get 3. So that's, I'm guessing Designer 2 is like their Illustrator.
Designer is their vector art. So yeah, it's their Illustrator, Inkscape.
Yeah. I'm not too sure what Publisher is.
Publisher, I think, is for printed works, a la like Microsoft Publisher.
Okay, gotcha.
It's posters, brochures, printed
books,
documents.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
PDFs, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, I mentioned the ads on this one were kind of funny. Grant access to your files for content moderation, and then over here, Stellar Blade returns uncensored outfits following fan outrage.
Completely related. Yeah.
Right.
This is popular news. That's popular.
I mean, you got to bring back female armor.
Yeah, that's right.
Daryl sends over 2 Aussie bucks. Thank you so much. What did I miss? I opened a cider. We complained about Adobe. It's been a good time. I've got a 8.4% pineapple cider, and it is absolutely delicious.
Pineapple cider is good. Now, it's pineapple cider, so if it's just pineapple juice, that would technically be a tepache.
Right.
But if it's apple and pineapple, then it's pineapple apple cider, yeah.
I'm fairly certain this is apple base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's product of Auburn, Washington, and so it's probably apples.
They're not growing pineapples in Auburn, Washington.
Right. And actually, if I'm reading into this, I'm getting a little golden delicious. Like that, there's definitely an apple presence front and center to it. Oftentimes, you don't need very much pineapple because it is so incredibly tart when you add it to a beverage.
Yeah.
So my guess is this is like 70% apple, 20% pineapple, and 10% filler. And you get a very good pineapple cider.
It would be great if they did a pine-apple with apple and juniper.
I'm on to that.
Yeah.
You put those two words together and I was already like 4 steps ahead.
Yeah. It actually doesn't sound that bad. I like a lot of juniper-based drinks.
Yeah.
And you know what? I do have 5 gallons of hard cider that I made last year that I haven't tapped into yet. Oh. There's nothing that says I can get a bunch of juniper berries and just let it steep in there for a while.
Little juniper, little allspice?
Yeah.
Maybe. That could be good.
Yeah, it could be good. I just don't know how much, though, because I've never really used juniper berries, so I don't know how much I have to use.
Yeah, I have no idea on that.
Yeah, 5 gallons and how much juniper berries. You put too little, you're not going to taste anything. You put too much, and you can be like, oh my god, dude, it's like a pine tree.
Ooh, London's Gordon Dry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge fan of gin and juniper and things like that. If I get asked all the time, have I ever considered brewing my own beer? Of course I have.
Yeah.
Of course I've thought about it. But I don't know what I would do. And it's not necessarily that. It's what do I want to put my time into? What materials do I want to buy? What things do I want? I will probably eventually do something.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm thinking about getting into actually is mead.
Mead is great, yes. Mm-hmm. The problem with mead, though, you have to be a real patient man, because I've had some homebrew mead, and it needs about a year to sit around before it becomes good. You take a mead too young, and it is not good. It is disgusting.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I am a fairly patient man, and like I said, I have a cellar.
Yeah, you could just let it sit
there. I have
the
perfect environment to let it steep, so that's not an issue. But I've said this many times on the channel. I'm more a fan of spirits than I am of beer. Mm-hmm. It's just beer. There's more variety for me to be able to do things as an aside, as a prop. Yeah. And so that's why beer won over. I was always going to drink something on my desk, and my first thing was I'll make a different cocktail every week. Like Greg over at How to Drink. And then 50 episodes later, what the hell am I going to do? And so my planning for the channel has always been very long-term. What happens if this explodes? What happens if I hit episode 417, which, by the way, this week's video is episode 417.
Yeah.
It's the 417th video that I've ever edited for the channel. But it was, man, what do I do for whatever bourbon or whatever?
Yeah, how many cocktails can you make?
Do I do weeks or months of a different spirit? How do I do repeating spirits? How do I do repeating drinks? But a beer, I could open a new beverage every single time up into like the 10,000s and never show the same thing twice. Yeah. I have never been shy. I have never been in a situation where it's like, no, I've had that. 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 It's never once happened, and I don't think it ever will.
My untapped, let me see where I'm at for unique. This is unique check-in, so this is not duplicate. So this is just my beer consumption of unique beers. And I believe I'm in 5,917. So you could get pretty high into unique beers pretty easily and not have to worry about duplicates or anything like that.
Right. And that was my thought is, what happens when I film my 1,000th episode? Will I be filming my 12th old fashioned, or will I be opening yet another unique IPA or stout?
Yeah.
And that's why that won out.
Yeah.
But if I were to make a beer, what would it be? I don't know. I would eventually like to partner with someone and produce a craft computing beer. I'm not going to brew it myself because I don't want to go through the licensure of having to sell and transport it. Like, that's a whole thing that I don't ever want to get into. Although here I am craft computing the logistics company.
Yeah, but crafting a bunch of like even just doing 5 gallons, which is what the standard home brewing does.
Right.
That's a pain. I mean, ramping up to that by yourself, first of all, it's expensive because you need the room for it. There's tons of room for it.
I couldn't legally sell it without going through a whole bunch of other processes.
Exactly.
And I couldn't legally ship it out of state without going through some other process. I don't have the licensure for California or Washington. I don't have the federal license to cross state bounds. I don't have the... There's so much that goes into that I want no part of. So for myself, am I going to brew beer? Probably not. I'll probably do mead before I do beer.
Yeah.
Because mead is more akin to a spirit. It's not distilled, but
it's high
flavor,
enough.
The flavor profiles, the ABV, it's high enough that it's more akin to what my palate likes. And it's not like there's a shortage of breweries around here who wouldn't go, oh yeah, we'll make you a craft computing IPA.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We know. We're in first name basis with owners of some breweries in the area. So,
right.
yeah.
I know a dozen head brewers in this area.
Yeah.
Getting my name on a label would not be difficult. Even telling them, hey, I want you to make, I want you to take these hops and put them in this combination and, call it the craft computing IPA. Done.
Yeah.
Could probably be done within the next 3 months, like, if I'm being honest.
Thermal paste pale.
Gosh. What would my beers be named? Let me read a couple super chats while I get to that.
Okay.
Cosworth sends over another $2. Is Steve aware of the decrease in traffic cams in PDX?
Me and my slingshot have no idea what he's talking about. No, I don't know. No, I was not aware of this.
I found out about it literally just today because of the arrest that was made today. And what's funny is I was also selling one of my laser engravers. And so people started tagging me and accusing me of trying to hide the evidence and selling my laser, because apparently that's what was happening, is they were taking a really powerful diode laser and shooting out the cameras.
Oh, is that what was going on? Okay.
No, my laser is at a new home. I do still have my Galvo and fiber lasers. I have 3 laser cutters in my garage right now. I have more laser cutters active in my house than 3D printers.
Wow.
Which is really fun. Hold on.
Was that one back there?
Got a Bamboo Labs P1S that I've been trying out this week. Pretty good results thus far.
For creating the cases for your axe.
It's not necessarily for the mass production. It's for the prototyping stage. It's because I would send this over to my Prusa Mark III S Plus. Fantastic machine. Love that machine. Heavily modified it. I can send all kinds of engineering filaments through it and things like that. The problem is always time. And that's the biggest bugaboo for anything. So printing my case on my Prusa is 1 hour and 10 minutes. I printed this case on the Bamboo Labs P1S in 25 minutes.
Oh, nice.
So almost a third the time. That's 25 minutes versus almost 75 minutes. And the results are bang on, like, quality-wise.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks really good.
Right. For mass production, I'm not doing it myself. Even for this first initial beta run, I contracted it out because I'm not an idiot or a masochist.
Yes.
For long term, I'm looking at even faster production manufacturing processes, whether that's 3D printing or whether that's SLS, whether that's subtractive manufacturing, whether that's injection molding. Like I am fully on board for whatever, as long as my price is right. So yeah. But yeah, no, I bought that so I can send a version of my case over to the printer, go up and have a drink of water and come back downstairs and then pull it off the printer and then measure it and then figure out what needs to change. Right. It's the iterative revision process. It is the print and then test and then refine and then print and then test.
The rapid prototype thing that the 3D printers are great for. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Where this one just is going to absolutely excel at. And actually this afternoon, I just put on a 0.6 mil nozzle with a high flow end from E3D, which apparently will even further increase times. Like, there's a chance I could get this to print in like sub 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
So would it be like a quality to sell? No, but it would be a measure of accuracy down that I could make any revisions that I needed to make. And that's the whole point of rapid prototyping. So, long term, who knows? Will I be a masochist and run a print farm? I don't know. If I do, it'll probably be based on these.
Yeah.
But filament choice is a huge thing because I don't necessarily want to use PLA for my final cases because that has a glass transition of 60 degrees, and if you hit 50 degrees, you can start to liquefy and drip and droop and things like that. I don't necessarily want that in a product that might be put into an environment that's 50 degrees
going to be
Celsius.
hot. Yeah, your product starts melting looking like the Elephant Man or something like that.
Right, and so that's a genuine consideration. Is I'm making these for rack mount enclosures first and foremost, like that's my intended purpose. But they are just temperature sensors. You can put them anywhere that you need a Wi-Fi enabled temperature sensor. So I need to think about not just habitable environments, but the other two sides of it, both freezing and above.
You're going to have to put a warning label on there saying not for use in your brisket.
Right. Well, not for rectal use.
It'd probably be fine. I mean,
I added the rack mount tines just for that.
Just for that particular purpose.
Yeah.
You're not gonna amplify it and make it streamlined.
No, we're not gonna add the subwoofer in post. Anyway, Connor chimes in with $5. Thank you very much, Connor. Hope the rack temp product is doing well. It is. Great transition, by the way. We have sold 300 and almost 30 of them. I think 330 as of yesterday.
Wasn't your initial like in the 400s?
So 400 was my initial goal. And we're leaving orders open until the end of the month. If you were one of the first 300 orders, which happened on June 5th, those orders have already been placed as far as manufacturing and assembly. I checked this morning. The PCBs have already been cut and etched, and we are on to the passive components, to the resistors. The resistors are being added to the boards like today. So we are very, very far along. Basically, all that needs to happen is the temperature module soldered on, and then the Pi Pico soldered on, and then the boards ship out. Like, that's where we're at. So very, very exciting as far as that goes. I'm expecting them to ship, the boards to ship to me probably by the end of next week. I also should have my cases coming in for them early next week as well. I'm waiting for the person I contracted with had another use that he needed to do with the cases, which sounds weird, but it'll make sense when you see the video.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say a different use. It's kind of specific.
Right, it's kind of a specific thing, but no. So he printed me out 415 in PLA in my choice of green filament PLA, which is this neon green color. He also printed me out 4 via an SLS machine in sintered nylon, and sent me a test image of that today. And oh my god, I kind of want to go sintered nylon for the final version.
Is that more expensive or cheaper?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a great question. It's definitely not going to be cheaper.
Okay.
And it won't be faster as far as a... Hold on, let me grab this image. So Jill Telling is the one who is... I'm contracting his print farm to make me my cases. He is currently doing a test of the Micronix SLS, their $3,000 SLS printer, which uses powdered nylon as a material. So this is my case in PA6 nylon. And it looks freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I do like that. The texture and everything. That is sexy.
Yeah. So yeah, the edges are sharp. God, everything just looks so good. So yes, long term, maybe PA6 is the answer. Maybe SLS is the answer. The downside to FDM 3D printing, which is your plastic squeeze bottle 3D printing,
right.
Your hot glue 3D printing, is it builds it flat on a bed. And then once your bed is full, your bed is full. With SLS, it lays down a bed of powder. And then it uses a laser to etch one layer at a time, that entire bed of powder, but only the parts that you need. It then lays another 50 micron layer of powder on top and then etches again. And where it etches will fuse to the layer beneath it. But the rest of the bed is just still powder.
Right.
So the powder supports the bed as it moves up, which means once you've etched an entire layer of product, you can just start etching the next layer of product on top of that. So there's no reset on the printer. You can fill the entire print volume from Z0 to Z200.
Yeah.
With cases. And so where a 3D printer might need a reset after 3.5 or 4 hours, which on a Prusa Mark III, one of these cases, top and bottom, took about an hour and 10 minutes on my printer. I could fit 4 of these on a bed. So that's 4 cases per hour per bed. That means every 4 hours I need to pull those cases off and restart the printer, right? On an SLS, I could fit 3 across on one layer, but then you put 2 layers of powder in between, and then you just print another 3, and then another 3, and then another 3, and then another 3. And so I could set it and forget it and come back the next morning and have 100 cases inside the bed of powder.
Yeah.
So cheaper? No. This
more
is
efficient though. Yes.
This is $60 to $100 a kilogram versus $25 a kilogram. And so the material itself is more expensive. But the man hours may be significantly less because there's less reset needed for an entire bed to fill of them. There is a little bit of post-processing. You do have to sandblast them to get rid of the excess powder, and then the reset process for loading the machine is a little bit more. But
is there a lot more waste with the powder? Is there?
No, the powder that you don't use is infinitely reusable.
Oh, okay.
You do have to cut it with somewhere between 20 and 40% virgin powder, because what you're doing is you're heating the powder bed itself up to just below its melting point. And so there is some chemical change within the powder that you use that doesn't actually get sintered in the bed. But if you add in virgin powder and then mix it all up, it's fine.
Let's talk more about how pure your powder is, Jeff.
Right. Straight Colombian PA6, eh? Yeah. So very cool process. If I were crazy enough to do my own cases in-house, this would probably be the method that I would choose. Because I can go out there and in less than an hour, unload a chamber, put it in a tumbler, reclaim my powder, fill the chamber with it, put it back in the machine, and hit print. And have whatever number of cases that machine can produce in a day. Versus having to babysit an FDM every 4 hours. So, yeah, it's a different process, and nylon is a far more robust material than PLA. So, but yeah, no, if you want one of my temp sensors, they are still available. We will be selling them through the end of the month. Craftcomputing.com, $65, Wi-Fi enabled SNMP temperature monitor for your server rack or wherever you need high fidelity temperature sensing. These have a range from -40 to +85 degrees Celsius as far as temperature sensing. Although, like I mentioned, they are in a PLA case, so keep the material that this case is made of in mind. They don't like to go below 0 or above 55. But the sensor and the PCB will survive. The case may not. Let's see what else. They are 0.3 degrees Celsius accurate out of the box with a 0.01 degrees Celsius fidelity, which means you get insanely smooth curving in whatever software you're using to record your data in, which is a far and away cry from the 1 degree Celsius fidelity and the 2 degrees plus or minus accuracy of like my APC smart monitor, for instance, that I use in my server rack right now, which, by the way, also cost me like $700.
Yeah.
So looking to change the industry and kind of undercut things and make temperature sensing accessible where you need it to be. This is the beta model. The final version will be coming in 2 flavors, one of which will be Wi-Fi in probably a very similar form factor to this. The other will be power over Ethernet, and there are some surprises to be had in that. I talked a little bit about it last week, but I'm not going to spoil all the surprises, so you'll have to wait. But PoE and Ethernet version is probably the first one that is being developed, and that will be basically ready to be sold and delivered in Q4 of this year.
And that one is strawberry scented.
So I sent a couple out to various YouTubers, just for them to get an idea of what I was making. And I sent one to Techno Tim that was neon pink.
Oh, nice.
And I couldn't find my red filament in time to send it to Gearling. I was looking all over for my red filament for Redshirt Jeff, and I couldn't find my red filament. And then the day after I shipped his test unit, I looked across the office, and it's sitting on a shelf like under 2 other rolls of filament. And my red was mostly gone. And so the roll was sucked in, and it's like, oh, that's why I didn't see it.
That's why it is, yeah.
But today, on the Bamboo Labs, I went ahead and printed a Redshirt Jeff color.
Yeah, that is bright red.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, not that my green is any dimmer.
No, that's definitely, you got the Christmas green and red going on there.
Yeah. So... Coffee and Cynicism chimes in $5. Thank you very much. Can you elaborate on your current video workflow using DaVinci Resolve? Also, your experience with DaVinci on Linux. I will be doing an entire video of my Linux experience, and part of that will be DaVinci Resolve. When I say editing my video, cutting the video is the easy part. Yep. It is transitions, graphics, B-roll, fades, etc. All of that is an entirely different workflow from one program to another. They're all called different things. They're all in different places. They all do different things. They all have different defaults. They all have different good and bad. And so if you're used to using the opacity setting in Premiere, it's not opacity over here. It's something else. And the way they handle layers in the videos is a little bit different from one program to another. They are both non-linear editors. And, you know, if you can cut one video in one, you could probably cut a video in the other. But the finish work and the little detail things, that's a different process in both of them. They handle images differently. They handle scaling differently. They handle mismatch resolutions of video files differently. They handle a whole bunch of different things in not necessarily better or worse, but just different ways. And so it is a little bit of a learning curve. That and even the basic tools are all in very different locations. And so that's what I say when my workflow was 100% Adobe Premiere. Right. I have 8 to 10 years of experience with that. And, you know, while I know how to drive a car, you know, I like my seat where it's at, and my steering wheel's at just the right angle, and the radio station turns on the right thing when I turn on the car, and my phone auto connects to Bluetooth, and this happens, and this happens. And then you sit down in someone else's car, and it's still a car, but it's completely different.
Yeah, all the settings are different. Everything's in different places. Yeah. Now, if someone was starting out with editing, would you recommend Premiere or DaVinci Resolve?
Resolve.
Okay.
It's not that one's harder to learn than the other. It's that I had 8 years of unlearning to do. And so that made it difficult. It made the transition difficult. It's the same thing of being a network administrator, but working 100% Cisco your entire life.
Right.
Cisco's a different language.
Yeah,
they use standardized terms in non-standard ways. Ask a Cisco dev versus a Meraki dev, what is a trunk port? And you will get 2 wildly different answers, because Cisco uses trunk in one way and Meraki uses trunk in the right way. And it's the same kind of thing, where we're all doing the same thing and the end result looks the same way and performs the same way, but we got there 2 very different ways based on our workflow. So yeah. Cap and Tack sends over $5. Thank you very much. I'd totally buy Craft Computing branded booze.
There we go.
There is an audience.
Another income stream right there.
Any word on when we'll be able to buy a copy of our bricks? Store page still says August 23. Yes, I am ready to give an update on the bricks. So the whole studio build, as building projects often do, especially in residential zoned areas, is rather pear-shaped at the moment. I am back to talking to the city about my next recommendation for what I want to do with a building. But I actually did order a set of, I was looking at either like 3D printing my own bricks and selling those. Like, do I print bricks that are kind of unique in texture and then paint them and sell them and whatnot? Do I order something? Do I special order a product? Am I going to spend like $3,000 ordering bricks for people who gave me $50? Like, I don't know. I think I have a process for the bricks going now. And so if you ordered a brick, I don't have them here. I think they're at my shop. So what I did is I ordered some bricks online that are meant for like faux brickwork. So actually, if I go full screen here, I have brickwork over on the side of my bar here. That was bought in a panel, but you can buy individual like fake bricks. I bought some individual fake bricks that are about between 1/8 and 1/4 inch thick, that are actually made with a mortar material. And so you can mortar them onto a wall and grout them as you would normal bricks. And when they're done, they look completely like normal bricks because every single brick is completely unique. So I've been working with different methods of like painting them and laser engraving them and things like that. And I think I have a method worked out. And so, yes, if you ordered a brick very soon, I will be likely collecting anyone who wants to order one. The deal is going to be you pay shipping. So you pay shipping, maybe an extra dollar surcharge, just so I can cover costs and materials. And I will send you a copy of your brick. So yes, I have a process. I just need to probably finally pull the trigger. As far as the studio itself, right now I am trying to get permission to put a portable collapsible building on my property. That way it's not a permanent addition. That way I can encroach on a little bit of the setbacks required by the county.
Oh, so the permanent one they're not too happy with, huh?
Yeah, there were some major concessions that needed to be made, and in the end it's like, well, you could build a 400 square foot. It's like, that's barely bigger than the office I have now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
there's no point to doing that.
Yeah.
So right now I'm trying to get approved for a 600 square foot portable building. That it's gonna come with habitable items. So your kitchen and your bathroom, I'm not going to install those items. I want this to be a drop-in-place shop. And I'm going to move my office, my 3D printers, my laser cutters. So there's going to be like a merch production center. There's going to be an editing office. And then there's going to be a main shooting room. And then the bathroom might convert into a server room. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, so I'm trying to get approval for that now. The donations that I received for the bricks cover about 50% of that purchase cost. So I'm also trying to get a couple partners on board to cover the rest of the purchase and installation of this building. I have a couple that are intrigued, but if you hadn't noticed, a lot of tech companies are like laying off people by the dozens. And so not a lot of people are wanting to spend $5,000 to finance something. So yeah, a lot of my advertisers went like,
nah. Thanks.
Yeah, and not because I did anything wrong or they did anything wrong. It's just they don't have money for advertising right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so working on putting it together. Ideally, I would like to be in my new space. I said this last year around this time, but by the end of the year. The cool thing about the new building that I'm looking at is it is a portable structure that sets up in less than a day.
Very much like John's studio that he's got.
Oh, even better than John's studio.
Yeah, well, his is pretty small. I think that one's maybe
John's is 199 square feet.
Yeah,
John's is
tiny.
the bare minimum for not requiring a permit. Mine will require a permit for the installation. Yeah. So mine, what I'm looking at is one of the storage container portable buildings, but the unfoldable portable buildings. Gotcha. And so they ship you an 8-foot by 30-foot shipping container. And then the sides of it literally fold down, and then another side folds up for a roof, and then the walls expand around it, and you end up with a 20 by 32-foot building. That's what I'm looking at putting in.
I've seen those on Amazon and stuff like that they have those kind of buildings.
Exactly right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thumbnail writes itself. I bought a house on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
they shipped the house.
So if you're an advertiser and you're watching tonight, that video is going to get clicks, and it's going to get clicks from all over because that thumbnail writes itself.
Yeah.
But that is my current plan, is to drop one of those buildings onto my property in the exact spot that I was looking at locating my permanent structure. There's going to be a little bit of work that goes into the site beforehand. I need to level the area and then sink some pier blocks down. But as soon as the pier blocks are down, it's a couple cement bricks and then literally drop the building in place.
On top of it,
Get 6 people to help me unfold the walls and then start moving in.
Eat that, Amish. We get a whole house in a day.
Right.
Screw your barn raising.
Yeah.
I have my own Rumspringa.
So yeah, that's the current plan. I've looked at these buildings in quite a bit of detail, actually, probably more than a lot of people have seen online. You can get them in different floor plans, configurations. I'm looking at a very specific floor plan where, again, it's 600 square feet. There are 2 bedrooms off to the side, and one will be an office, the other will be the merch area. And then the main area of the main room will be shooting floor. So, like I said, hoping to get that going. Full transparency from everyone who's asking, I did about $10,500 in brick sales. Of that, I put $2,500 away for taxes because income. And so there's about $8,500 in an account that is separate. It's just sitting there right now just for the building fund. The money has not gone anywhere. It's just sitting there.
Not having coke-fueled orgies with it or anything like that.
Right.
That comes after the building's up.
I mean, I thought about it, and that's definitely where the excess is going to go. I'm in this weird middle ground where $8,500 might buy a 200 square foot shed, but it doesn't buy the building that I need, nor would it put enough improvements into my house to do it. So the money's just sitting there, and it's because of a fight with the city and the county and different ordinances and things like that. And even before I went out on the project, I thought I had approval for it, and then they went, "Yeah, you really can't do that."
On second thought, no.
Yeah, and so there's been so much back and forth. But I have a lot of hopes that the portable building will finally sell them on allowing me to do it. So fingers crossed, everyone. But I need to get to about 24 would be acceptable. So from brick donations, I've got about 8,500. I need about 3 times that for the full installation cost of the building. That is rental for the backhaul to level the property, and then putting in stone pillar foundations, and there's electrical work that needs to go into this, and so that's going to be running either a sub panel or splitting off a whole bunch of circuits and paying an electrician and inspector and all that kind of stuff. The building itself is about $16,000, and then it's going to be about $2,000 to $3,000 for a crane to put it into place. Yeah, I get to use a crane. Or at least hire one.
Yeah, I don't know if you get to do it yourself. You have to be licensed to use those things.
Yeah. But no, so it's between $16,000 and $18,000. Then there's a crane, and then there's going to be some inspection process that has to happen for the electrical work as well. But yes, hopefully project moving forward. Yeah. Hoping by the end of the year. We'll see.
It's going to be one of those like Christmas presents. You're going to have a bow on the top of it and everything, like in those commercials with the Christmas present car.
Yeah.
Sure. Where do you get giant bows? Season. Yeah. I bought you a house.
So Steve, what are you doing for Toyotathon this year?
Well, I'm dressing up in my favorite Toyota costume. and I'm gonna have the Toyota feast. I'm gonna drink.
Happy Honda days.
Yeah, happy Honda days.
We're gonna live in commercialism. I might as well enjoy the jokes.
Yeah, you could. You got to make holidays based on it. Make them real.
Yep.
We get. I I celebrate Toyotathon. I get that day off. Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, Cyano sends over $5. Thank you very much. Finally get to catch the show live. Having a Shiner Bock after a long day. Getting an air cooler for my home server. Would a $75 NHU12S be overkill? The NHU12S is overkill for basically every CPU on the planet. Yes, but it is absolutely fantastic. The cool thing about most Noctua air coolers is they're the last air cooler you ever need. Notice I didn't even bother with a follow-up to what CPU do you have and what's your other... The NHU12S, it'll air cool your system. And it's a fantastic cooler. There's really no second place to it. So if you have the $75, it's a great investment. There are some really good coolers out there for like 40, 50 bucks. You know, gosh. The Thermal Right Peerless Assassin, that's one that comes to mind. It performs within 3-4 degrees, give or take, like, 5% of a Noctua NHU12S. It's 50 bucks. It's a little bit more finicky. It's not quite as high quality of a product. The fans are definitely a step down from Noctua fans. And Noctua guarantees that if your CPU mount changes over the years, you buy new parts, they'll probably make adapters for them and sell them to you for like $5 or $10. So,
good investment.
If you got the money, I'd say go Noctua. You're not going to be sorry. All right. With that, we can finally move on to our second story. I think right as soon as we crack our second beer, unless you
that's right. I can finally try my mystery beer here. I have no idea what Dark Illusion is.
So I've got a Cascade Lakes This IPA. After a federal park or Oregon Ranger Station, we see these all over the place.
Oh wow! Look, it's not a porter or a stout. That
very amber.
Yes. It smells like a beer.
It's always a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, walk me through this one.
That actually tastes like a coffee IPA.
Ooh.
That's a coffee IPA. That's what that is. I've had that several times.
So that's a rogue cold brew.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's basically what it is. It's got some that's where the Dark Illusion comes from.
Okay.
It tastes dark, it's coffee, but it's an illusion.
Okay.
An illusion.
Ooh.
No, it's good though. It's good. It's not that bad. I've never had a non-alcoholic coffee IPA. That's a new one. Oh, supposedly it's based on a coffee blonde ale. Okay. Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little hoppier than I would have thought, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of people chiming in. Peerless Assassin, yeah. Yeah. Peerless Assassin's one of the favorite coolers. In fact, my box right now is running a Peerless Assassin on my Linux PC. So fantastic coolers. Are about 50 bucks. But like I said, you really can't go wrong with an NHU12S. Like if you're already considering that and the extra 20 bucks isn't really any skin off your back, the NHU12S is the king of all coolers. So yeah. Let's see. Bribes can be sent to Jeff's P.O. Box. That's exactly right.
Good stuff? Or is it just your standard IPA?
I feel it'd be cutting it a little short, a little disingenuous if I said, yeah, it's just standard IPA.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good beer.
Good beer? Okay.
It's a good beer. 3.5, not
good.
on Untapped. Like,
yeah.
It's nothing remarkable. It's a Northwest IPA.
Okay.
Let me give it the true proper test here.
It was just called this, right?
This IPA.
By who? Who makes it?
Cascade Lakes. Literally, this IPA.
Yeah, this IPA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. The average rating is 3.74, so you're pretty dang spot on there.
And I could definitely see, bumping it up a quarter,
Yeah.
But no, it's solid. It's very, very good. It's not citrusy at all. It is. I'm trying to get the right descriptor for that front flavor. Hold on.
Yeah, it says it's got Centennial, Amarillo, Simcoe, and Citra.
I'm getting a lot of Amarillo.
Yeah, I was gonna say
a lot of Amarillo.
Well, Centennial is not a citrusy hop.
How do I explain that? No, it's just pretty decent. Michael, member for 21 months. Thank you. What is 4 letters, sometimes 9, but never 5? I use a lot of those words out at my server rack. I don't know. I'm not good with riddles. I problem solve in other ways.
It's exactly what it is. I've heard this one before. What is 4 letters? Sometimes is 9 letters, and never is 5 letters. But never 5 letters. What is 4 letters? Yeah. It's not a puzzle. It's literal.
Yeah. I got it. I got it. Stick up your pinky when reviewing an IPA.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's not earthy. It's not vegetal. It's not grassy. It's not citrusy.
Resiny?
Resiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not dank either though. It's like none of your traditional IPA markers, but I'm tasting Amarillo hops.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more aggressive carbonation to it. There's a little bit more CO2, and so it's a little bit bitey, especially right up front. Definitely a little bit bitter because of that.
Yeah.
More CO2 leads to more bitterant. But solid, nice center body to it. I need some garlic fries.
Yeah.
That's
I can always use some garlic fries.
I need some garlic fries.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Garlic fries is always the answer.
It's funny as I had a beer the other day that tasted worse with food, and I'm trying to remember which one that was.
It tasted worse with food?
Yeah. I remember I had a burger the other day, and I cracked open a beer, and it was a beer that I hadn't. It was just a random IPA that I had in my fridge, and I went, "This is awful. This is just not good."
I don't remember which. This is a while ago, but yes, I remember having. It was a Sam Adams. It was some kind of Sam Adams beer. I don't remember. It was like a specialty seasonal one, and it tasted fine. But when I started eating with it, it tasted like tomato juice to me, and I'm like, that is not good. That's not what you want when you're drinking a beer,
right?
So I'm like, no, I'm just gonna drink that by itself.
And Rev goes, I was about to say dank. Yeah, no, it doesn't, like, resiny is as close as I can get to a descriptor.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit vegetal, maybe a little bit like dandelion, wet grass,
floral or something like that. Floral.
Not even quite floral.
Not quite floral.
But
okay.
but just a little bit of that vegetal kind of. But it's way deep in there. Most of what I'm getting is just hop.
Yeah. But hop has come a long way. It used to be like back in the early 2000s when I first started drinking IPAs, hop, you could just say, oh, it's very hoppy, and people understood what that
was
meant.
The word. It was
that
the
was the
descriptor.
word.
Yeah.
You can't say that anymore because hops go all over the board as far as flavors. You can have lemony hops. You can have orangey, pineapple-y tasting hops. You have stone fruit tasting hops. You have very resiny, dank hops. Yeah. So it's like you can't just say, it's hoppy.
Yeah.
That's the cop out.
Even over 20 years, my language for what an IPA is has had to evolve so incredibly much.
Yeah. It's like just drinking IPAs has involved you into like a wine snob type of a person.
There's really a lot of crossover there.
There is.
Oh, you know what's funny? No, it was a wine that I was drinking.
Was it a wine, not a beer? Okay.
No, I had a cab that I was drinking over the weekend. My wife was out of town, and so it's like, you know what? I never just like open a bottle of wine, and so I went out. We've got probably 10 or 15 bottles out there, and I'm like, this one looks pretty good.
Blew the dust off of it because you hardly drink wine.
A little bit. It's a bottle from 2020. We've probably had a year and a half or 2 years. But I don't even remember who it was, but it was a cab, and popped the top, delicious. Had like a little half glass with it, just in the afternoon, sitting there writing up a video, and with dinner, I made some dinner, and I poured myself another half glass of wine, and I went, this is awful. Like, this was delicious.
What did you have with it to eat with it?
What did we have for dinner?
I mean, I know there's supposed to be certain food pairings you have with wine and stuff like that, but
we had Chinese food.
Okay. So MSG and wine, not a good mix.
Dog
and cabs are not a good mix.
Had some General Tso and some pork fried rice.
Oh. Yeah. I'm so sad because there's no more good Chinese food places around here anymore, and I cannot get a good General Tso's to save my life anymore.
There's one in Salem. I need to take you to it.
Okay, because I love General Tso's, and there's the best General Tso here is served at Safeway.
Yeah, no,
it's a supermarket. General Tso's is the best one here.
Tell you what, this next week, or hell, what's your schedule like?
Oh,
can you get away for lunch?
Next week is yeah, probably could.
Cool. Name a day.
Actually, wait, no, next week, no. Next week I won't be able to. I have
this week
coming in. I think
like tomorrow.
Yes,
Friday?
I could probably maybe Friday.
I could do Friday.
Let me check my. Well, let's check after we're done. I'm gonna start checking schedules.
Let's tentatively plan on Friday. I'm gonna take you out to Chinese.
Okay, sounds good.
Heck, we'll see if we can get rep because it's just off of Silverton Road in Salem.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. General Tso is American food. I know, but it's delicious.
It's actually because I watched the documentary.
General Tso's documentary. No one knows what it is.
It's actually it was fascinating. I really enjoyed it. But it was invented in Taiwan. Yeah. But the version they make in Taiwan is nothing like the version we eat now. It's been so Americanized. It's like almost a completely different dish.
Yeah. All right. We put this off long enough. Server GPU virtualization might be about to get a heck of a lot simpler. Windows 2025, Server 2025. So for the last couple of years, GPU Paravirtualization has been a feature that's been in the beta or alpha fringes of Windows Server. It's even in Windows 11. As of update, gosh, what was it? Windows 10 1903, and even the release version of Windows 11. You could PowerShell your way to make this work with Hyper-V. And that is virtualizing, so taking a piece of hardware that you own, in this case a GPU, and paravirtualizing it. That is essentially sharing the driver stack between the client and the host, sending the host any IO that you need to perform a task, and then the host sends it back to be finalized to the client. So if this was networking, you could send the host all of your traffic and it would put it into the driver for you and then spit it out. If this is a graphics card, you would share the graphics driver with your host system. You would send all of your rendering tasks to the host. The host driver would do it and then would send you back the packet stream of whatever data it needed. What this means is you didn't have to have a fancy NVIDIA or AMD graphics card to share one GPU with multiple systems. And the host still retains the ability to use the card. Really cool technology, and it's not utilizing SRIOV. It's a different technology entirely called Paravirtualization. This has not been a very accessible feature. It's been a PowerShell only affair where you have to assign a GPU, you have to split a GPU with PowerShell, and then assign a piece of that GPU to a given virtual machine. And then there's no graphical interface saying whether or not this has happened or not. Yeah. But then when you power on the machine, it's still utilizing the Microsoft basic display driver for a Windows virtual machine. You then have to create a share folder between your client and your host that will share the host driver files with your client. Once that's done, you need to add the device through your device manager as an actual device and point it to that host share file so it will stay current with whatever driver files are needed there. It's a process.
It is a process. Could be automated, but it's a process.
Right. But it does work. As of Server 2020-25, the latest beta, we're actually getting some GUI implementations and some verbiage around what will be possible with Server 2025 when it comes to virtualized GPUs. Now, as you all know, I've done a lot of work here with virtualized GPUs. This is going to be huge for a couple of different instances. This is going to be big for VDI instances. This is going to be big for I want to run 64 thin clients in a hospital with graphics acceleration. You know, let's load up Chrome and play YouTube videos.
Right.
While utilizing a single GPU. That's totally going to be possible here. This is going to be possible for Windows gaming clients. I want to start up a Windows gaming machine and then remote into it and then stream that game or that desktop environment to another machine and utilize it. This is going to be great for remote VDI, for CAD or video editing or photo editing or whatever process. So we spin up a Windows virtual machine, we give it some graphics acceleration, and it now has acceleration as part of the virtual machine. It can edit a video. It could scrub through a timeline. It can encode something. It's going to be great for that. There are limitations to it now, and the limitations are more akin to what people with containers run into than people with virtual machines run into. And the reason being boils down to the same issue. Is your virtual machine is sharing driver resources with the host machine, much like containers are sharing the root kernel between the host and the client machines. So if you want to use GPU Paravirtualization in Windows Hyper-V 2025, you have to be running the exact same kernel of Windows in your virtualized machine in order for the drivers to know what they need to do. You can't run a Linux host and then split off part of your graphics card because the host will have no way to interact with the driver files, with the requests that come back for that. So this is going to be, in Hyper-V, a Windows-only affair. But I think a lot of the people in my audience who are looking at GPU Paravirtualization, you know, vGPU, MXGPU, SRIOV, a lot of my audience comes from the gaming slant. How can I take an RTX 4090 and have 4 people play on it at the same time?
Right.
If you want to run Windows, there you go. So we're starting to see some early versions of the GUI make its way out. So choosing your server, choosing your available VRAM, and then choosing what virtual machine you want to attach it to. This is now a menu option that is embedded into Hyper-V 2025 Manager. And we're going to get more and more of this as we go along. I have not taken a look at the 2025 version or the beta or the public preview, as they call it,
right? Yeah.
Yet. It is definitely high on my list to check this out. Because I have a lot of questions. Number one, if we do paravirtualization, is there also a script that we can run or some kind of process, some kind of automated process that will enable the graphics card on the client? So a PowerShell that you run on the host and on the client, so the host will share its driver files, and then on the client to receive the driver files, and then to automatically install whatever files are in that driver. That would be amazing, because that would be a touchless option for deploying a new system.
Mm-hmm.
And that would open it up to automation, pay as a service. Like that, there's so many things that this could do to enable a seamless user experience. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss when I start talking about virtualized graphics. Is it's been possible for a long time to like pass through a graphics card, but that's on a one-to-one basis. And it's not for a live migration. It's not for an on-demand type service. If I had dynamic clients that were signing in and needed GPU access, could I provide that GPU access based on their username or location? Could I spin up a new VM with a set install of programs and launchers ready to go with GPU Paravirtualization pre-enabled? And could that be a live process? Versus, if we need to spin up a new VM right now, it's an IT guy slamming his head on a desk for 90 minutes. Like, that's the process.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. Once they spin it up, then you're not taking it down.
Right. Now, this is a virtual machine on our environment, and it's for this one user who logs in because that's what the security assignment is.
Mm-hmm.
Not a come and go as you please. Mm-hmm. Not an on-demand service. It needs to be seamless to the end user. It needs to be as you would deploy a cloud provided service. And that's kind of the missing key. Here in my house, I've been utilizing virtual gaming systems for a long time. Up to and including, having gaming machines for family members where they don't have a gaming PC, but they'll log into my servers here and they'll be able to log in with their Steam account and GOG account and play games and stream that off to their laptop. I have a sister-in-law who has a 2018 MacBook.
And she plays games on it.
Right. The Intel M3 version MacBook, 1.1 gigahertz, that she plays games on because she remotes in and plays games on my server. So yeah. Arctic Sound SRIOV wants a word with you. Yeah, Jordan. Not all of us are blessed to get, Battle Mage and Flex in. Just saying. Yeah, Intel M3. Yeah, no, not Apple M3. Intel M3. The Core M3. Look, SRIOV is definitely a better solution for this. But until NVIDIA or AMD or Intel decide that they want to wholeheartedly support it, this is the next best thing. I don't even need support. I just need a goddamn driver download.
Yeah.
Just one. Just one. NVIDIA supports this through licensure. AMD claim they support it license-free. But you have to have a multi-million-dollar contract in order to get access to the driver downloads. You have to be part of their partner program. Which not a lot of people are. Intel says they support it, license-free, and they do, but you can't buy the damn hardware. I would love to implement an SRIOV solution in my current box and make it work. And Jordan says, check GM. I'm looking at my DM. I haven't seen it yet. Feel free to let that one fly. There it is. Uh-huh. By the way, I love the image that this is directly below in our DMs, Jordan. Anyway. SRIOV definitely a superior solution. If we can get Windows Hyper-V Paravirtualization working to a sustainable level where it works for on the fly, or even not even on the fly or on demand, but just freaking works, I'm going to be happy for it. Because that's so much better than we've had before. It's not where we need to be right now as people who really like VDI and are enthusiastic about these kinds of solutions. But GPU-P gets us closer. All of this sounds really good, like a really good opportunity for end gamers, one CPU or GPU, but other than that, it sounds like boring paravirtualization of a GPU in Windows only. Where are most games played? I ask you.
Basically Windows right now, but even you like to be going Linux and do more Linux stuff.
I've been doing Linux things as of late. It's been working pretty well. So... Look, I would love to advise you to ditch Windows, but even for gaming, 80% of your games on Steam will run on Linux today basically as well or even better than they will on Windows. The problem is 50 of the top 80 games on Steam have an anti-cheat component that's not compatible with Linux.
Yeah.
So all of your competitive multiplayer games, those are a no-go.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, well, I use Photoshop. Well, Linux has GIMP. Yeah, like, I understand that you really like Call of Duty and Linux has Quake 2. Okay? They're not the same game. So don't compare them. And I don't mean to bash on Quake 2. But it also had its place, and it's kind of a dated shooter.
It kind of is.
Just saying. GIMP is the Quake 2 of photo editors.
I don't know. I wouldn't even say that. It would be more like, I don't know, some kind of offshoot FPS that didn't really take off that much.
GIMP
I mean, Quake 2 was revolutionary for the time, so let's not compare it there.
GIMP is the Chex Quest.
There you go. Editors. Yeah, the Chex Quest.
GIMP is the Sneak King of thief games.
The avoid the noid of the.
Would ET be a little close to home?
No, that's gone a little too far. I mean, GIMP's not that bad.
A lot of anti-cheat could work in Linux if the game devs wanted it to. No, they could not. Because the Linux community would not accept them. What I mean by that is kernel level anti-cheat will never be a thing in Linux because the vitriol will be swift and thorough. Do you think a community that prides themselves on security and openness would allow a kernel level sniffer to sit on their system for the purposes of anti-cheat? You've got to be out of your goddamn mind. There's other ways to do anti-cheat. There's other more effective ways to do anti-cheat than kernel level memory monitoring. But that's the anti-cheat solutions that a lot of devs have chosen to go with. The Linux community will refuse to run them kernel level because Linux.
Yeah.
And I support that. So yeah, it's not if the devs wanted to support them. The thing is, you're also only chasing after 2% of the gaming market. And it's 2% because of the Steam Deck. It's like 0.6% without it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not a huge percentage. So do you want to devote that many resources to competitive multiplayer anti-cheat? Or would you rather just take your 98% and run? In the game of retail, you take 90%.
Mm-hmm.
You take 10% in shrinkage. Whether that's loss, whether that's defective products, whether that's Karens getting a return for something they shouldn't have gotten a return on, whether that's damage in transit, whether that's stupid customers. You take 90% and you go on your way to the bank. You will spend the equivalent of 90% fighting that final 10%. And Windows Gaming has a 98% lead. As a developer, you take your 98%.
Yeah.
You don't fight for the other 2% because it's not worth it.
Yeah, the amount of effort they have to put into it is not worth that small amount you're going to gain.
Yeah. Is it bury it in the desert bad? Is it Shaq Fu bad?
I was going to say Daikatana bad.
Yeah. Green sends over $5. Thank you very much. I would love some more information on simultaneously using DDU and GPU-P. I want to allocate USB controllers, and Windows 11 Hyper-V doesn't play nice. You could do direct device pass-through and paravirtualization, I believe. I don't know. Here's the deal. The things that I'm interested in is centralized computing and computing on demand. It is spinning up a workstation at the exact power level that you need wherever you're at. It is being able to remote into a server that has more than enough power to handle your workload at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
It is an on-demand productivity / gaming machine. That's my pie in the sky. Multi-headed gaming, where you're passing through USB, that is another beast entirely. And Green, given I know a lot about your setup, and I understand how you use it and where you use it, it's not that I don't think it has a use, it's just that it doesn't interest me enough, and I don't think community-wise enough to devote a lot of time to. And I don't mean that as an offense, but you take the 98% and you run. I think more of the interesting use case of VDI is be anywhere and then stream the results versus 6 guys sitting around one desktop with monitors and keyboards going to the same PC. There's a lot more audience, visually, learning-wise, etc., to demonstrate concepts of the former than the latter. And so I don't know if I'll be exploring DDU with GPU-P. Maybe I will. Maybe there's some niche scenarios, but the only scenario that I've utilized in my garage where I've utilized virtualization is virtualizing my laser cutter workstation so I can monitor my laser cutter from here in my office.
Yeah, that works.
Where I've passed through an individual USB device to a virtual machine and then logged into it from a laptop. And so from my laptop, I'm sitting in front of my laser cutter and I can hit go, but that command is coming from the server over USB, which is really fun. But I think it's about as close as I got to it, and I think that almost might be as close as I get to it. And it's not that it doesn't have use, it's just that I don't think it has mass use. Steam and home streaming, find it actually works better than Parsec Sunshine when it comes to quality. Yes. Yes, Steam and home streaming is a huge thing. And I've actually been considering a revisit of Parsec and Moonlight/Sunshine, but with the addendum of also maybe testing out quality of Steam in-home streaming. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, that comes down to your Wi-Fi quality, and the Wi-Fi quality in my house is quite good. So I get fantastic results on every single machine with a Wi-Fi 6E access point. 6A. Y-Gig, whatever the bloody hell they call it now. It's not Wi-Fi 7, but it's Wi-Fi 6 revision letter. I've got really good Wi-Fi. I get really good results on all of my clients. I filmed an ad today where I was playing Cyberpunk on my phone from a server in Canada.
There you go.
That was fun. And actually, latency was pretty good.
That's good.
So, yeah. Jordan says, I'm working on a huge thing with it right now with... Oh, I thought you said with Coffee and Cynicism. Is Coffee and Cynicism someone I should know outside of chat? Like, and I mean no offense, like I love you in chat. You were responding to a comment about... Okay, that makes more sense. I thought right now with Coffee and Cynicism. What the hell does Coffee and Cynicism have to do with Arctic Sound GPU? What? Okay. Sorry, you gave me a minor aneurysm there. I'm working on an X9 DRI and trying to have 16 GPUs by bifurcating the 4 X16 ports to 444 each, but I can only see 11 GPUs. Above 4 gig decoding, you're going to run into. So make sure above 4 gig is enabled in your BIOS. PCI Express address space within memory, the actual hexadecimal memory address of the start and end of your devices is still a thing. Some boards do not have the memory allocated properly to be able to bifurcate down to the X4 level across 8 ports. Like, it's just not a thing. Because no one would ever do that outside of NVMe servers, but that didn't come for another 2 generations. Mm-hmm. So an X9, you might be... That might just be a limitation of the platform. If I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. We did have one more story to get to, and it is gaming related.
Yeah, there we go.
Love how we do segues here. So, Epic Games, love them, hate them, whatever. There's enough people using them now that people are starting to poke at the system and see what data they can gather from it and garner from it. Much like SteamDB can tell you anything and everything about every single Steam game you ever purchased down to the nth amount that you've ever spent on your Steam library, which, good God, don't look up that number. It's hugely depressing.
Yeah, it's you don't want to see mine at all.
Yeah, I don't want to see hours spent. I don't want to see dollars spent. All I want to see is my library is bigger than yours. That's all I want to know.
You got a while to catch up.
Not everyone buys all of the Humble Bundles, Steve. I pick and choose what 25 game bundles I want to buy. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll just let them shower on me. It's fine.
Do I already own 19 of them? Probably gonna let this one pass.
Well, I also have like over 100 tradable ones because I have so many duplicates.
I love your quiet acceptance of that fact.
That's
fine.
I just threw out there. I don't care. It doesn't faze me.
25 games, only 6 not in library.
There we go. I can trade the other ones. It's
fine. Well,
one
of those is still worth $10. Like,
yeah,
done. Right.
Highly sought after.
That's right. Just so everyone has context, what is your Steam library at, Steve? I'll give mine first. We'll do the Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing. Should I go first? Like, I don't want to first.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag or anything. I've been around a little bit. I've got 975, maybe trending 1,000. Like it's I know what I'm doing. So it's.
I'm at 4,046 now.
No one's ever seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I love the back and forth of that. It's one of my favorite scenes in cinema of all time. It is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
They're hired assassins, but they didn't know the other one were assassins, and they married each other. And so for years they've had these fake jobs that they go to, and they go and kill people. Well, they got put on the same thing, and they tried to assassinate the same target, and all hell broke loose. Anyway, they find out each other's assassins, and then they team up and start working together because their organizations found out and were trying to take them down. So now they're trying to take out their organizations, and there's your story. Anyway, so they both lived the life, but had no context to the other person. And so at one point, Brad Pitt goes, how many? And Angela, what? How many? She goes, I don't keep count. And he goes, should I go first? I don't want to embarrass you. And she goes, okay. And he goes, well, I don't exactly keep count, but if I had to throw out a number, high 50s, low 60s, I've been around. I know my way around a sniper rifle, not my first rodeo sweetheart kind of thing. And she goes, 512. He goes, 512. And she goes, somewhere 2 at a time. Anytime anyone ever compares Steam libraries, that's the scene in cinema that's playing in my head, especially between me and Steve. Is I've 920, 930. I don't exactly keep count, but it's pretty good. 4,046.
I have seen people with bigger counts than me, but not that many. There's not that many.
Yeah. But then the emasculating, you need a minute, honey? You okay? It's just a number.
It's just a number. It's okay.
We can still love each other. It's all right. I don't think less of you as a man. Anyway, so as SteamDB has launched, I don't know how we got all the way off there. But, as SteamDB keeps track of every game stat you ever wanted to know, EpicDB has now launched, and they've been diving into the libraries and archives of Epic games. And Steam learned how to hide things that should be hidden a long time ago, but Epic's fairly new. They're, 3, 4, 5 years old as far as a gaming platform. They don't have nearly the 20-year lineage that Steam does, and probably they're going to make some of the same mistakes that Steam did in the early days when the databases were completely public and transparent, and your internal documents became your external documents. So the new database surfer uncovered this list of unannounced games.
Yes, nobody knew were coming out. Well, some people speculated, but this is like an official, basically, type of things. Yeah.
Planet Coaster 2, Farm Simulator 2025, from Historia, Indigo, from Konami, Deliver at All Costs, from Rockstar, Semla.
Well, that's Semla is supposed to be, it's a code name for what they're speculating is Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, the Red Dead Redemption, original Red Dead Redemption.
Original, it's to a PC.
Sorry. Red Dead Redemption is the sequel to Red Dead Revolver. So the sequel to Red Dead Revolver, but the PC release of Red Dead Redemption. But that is the code name of the PlayStation 4 port, suggesting it's the code name for the PC port.
Correct.
Turok?
So there's a Turok. I don't know if it's a reboot. I'm guessing.
Because
they already did it. They did a remaster, so I don't think it's a remaster. It's probably a brand new Turok game.
Yeah. Sony Interactive, Utah, likely Last of Us Part 2 remaster. Again, seeing above to code names that are very widely known. Sony Interactive Entertainment only has so many games that they publish, and one of them happened to have a Utah code name, which was Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
Kondo, PSS app, Test 3, Test 2, Test 1. Square Enix, Momo, likely Final Fantasy IX remake. Interesting. Buttercaca. That was the one that I have no idea.
I don't know what that one is. They said they have no identifiable information.
Oh, an Epic DB that has since been pulled.
Yes, the Epic DB has been pulled. Yeah, they once this leaked, they blocked the API so you couldn't get into it.
Yeah. And Yamane. And then THQ also has one on here for Remnant 3. No, yeah. I don't remember a Remnant 3. Do you?
Nope. Remnant 2.
I remember a Remnant 2.
Yeah, Remnant 2. But not Remnant 3.
Yeah. And that's just the unreleased games that had placeholders in there. So, Epic learned a very good lesson this week.
Yes. They have to mask their stuff a little bit better.
Sanitizing your inputs and your outputs is very good for
APIs,
continuity of public secrets.
So yeah, I mean, not anything super groundbreaking, especially Farming Simulator 25. I mean, come on, they put one out every year.
Who would have seen that?
Who would have seen that one? That's like leaking a new, Madden or something like that. Come on, our new FIFA. Oh, there's one coming out, right?
Right.
But yeah, the Red Dead Redemption, that's pretty cool. That's always been speculated. This is the first really hardcore definitive proof that they are.
Yeah.
A new Turok, that's a pretty cool release.
Turok's pretty cool. I'm definitely happy to see Red Dead up there. Red Dead Redemption, for those who don't know, very late generation release for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. Not the most performant game in the world. Much like Red Dead Redemption 2 when it launched on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4. You were really hopeful for like 24 FPS.
Yeah.
And to keep your lows above 15. Like, not a great experience. But, like Tears of the Kingdom, a game that overcame its technical limitations and is so much of a better game than the presentation deserved. So ever since Red Dead Redemption 2 came to the PC, and especially since Red Dead Redemption 2, we know contains all of the asset information for Red Dead Redemption 1, including the maps and locations and towns and buildings and everything. Even the Mexico side of things is fully populated.
Yeah.
Not with the NPCs, but at least with everything else. There's been hope that a remastered version will come to PC because, dang, if there's one game that really genuinely needs a remaster that is still an HD game, it's freaking Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, even the people who have been working on emulators to get this working, I think it's been a while since I've looked, but last time I looked, they still had performance issues and texture issues and stuff like that. So.
The Xbox version, the Xbox 360 version was Xenia. Shockingly good.
Oh, is it? Okay, I haven't looked in a while, but
yeah. The PlayStation 3, so RPCX 3. I also played a little bit with that one. That one still does have some various performance issues. Xenia came and like leapfrogged it though. To where Xenia is the option that I would recommend, so long as you can dump your ROM file yourself legally.
Just saying, yeah.
I do still have my Xbox 360 and my copy of Red Dead Redemption, so I'm in the clear. The Switch emulated version works great. It's okay. Red Dead Redemption did come to Switch, and it's a decent port, and you get 30 FPS. It's not 1080p. It's not what I would call a remaster. It's a good port. It's probably the best way to play Red Dead Redemption today, but it's still 720p 30 FPS. Like, call it what it is.
Yeah,
it's better, but it's not great.
Think, okay, so I'm this doesn't say it's going to be a remaster, but we're guessing it is because it's taking a long time to come to PC. So we're guessing they're putting some work into it. And typically, when Rockstar does do ports, they put a lot of work into it. So that's what we're hoping.
Well, you say that, but their last remaster.
Yeah, their last remaster was not very good. Correct. Their GTA, but they were remastering a whole bunch of them. So they were looking at
3 games that share an engine,
not textures and not models. So
they ran their textures through AI upscaling and just pasted them in without curation.
That's why.
Don't give them credit for that.
I'm not giving them credit. I'm not giving them credit. I'm saying they were working on 3 games at once, and they obviously took shortcuts. I am not giving them any credit. This is one game, though. This is one game that's in high demand. That was never on PC before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The trilogy remaster, that was an abomination.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I would just rather go back and play the originals. That's just.
Rich says he's ready for Red Dead Redemption spoilers now. There's a really interesting scene in the Siege of El Presidente. There's a really interesting cutscene. You should probably go back and watch that one. It's all the spoilers you need, my friend. Green, enjoying some sushi and sake. I'll have to post pictures later to send forward. Yes, please do. But do the originals have achievements? Ian wants to know.
I don't know. Did they?
No.
Oh, I never played the original.
I played the originals for PC, so we didn't care about achievements.
Yes.
Yeah. Nope, I've never owned a PlayStation 2, so I've never played GTA as it was originally launched. Played all of my GTA, all of my my Red Dead on PC. Yep. With the exception of I did have an Xbox 360, which I played online from time to time. And I did buy GTA 5 at launch of that one for the Xbox 360. It was the last game I ever went to a midnight release for.
Oh, yeah.
All those many years ago. And schooled some poor high schooler in NBA Street. They did an NBA Street tournament. This was at the... You'll know where this at. This was at the... Game Crazy in Wilsonville.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
Which was owned by Hollywood Video, which is an Oregon retail rental distribution at the time. They had a midnight release for GTA 5, so I went to that. Had a reserved copy, and they were doing gaming contests all night long. Well, one of the gaming contests was NBA Street for PS2, and I won the contest, and so they sent me home with like literally one of the shelf toppers from Hollywood Video, which was attached to it. So they gave me like the popcorn bucket and the Reese's Pieces and a couple of sodas. And they went, here you go. Here's your trophy. Go play GTA 5. So I got a bucket of popcorn and some candy and whatnot.
Nice.
For beating some poor kid in NBA Street by 30 points.
Because he never played it before.
He never knew what was coming. I had never played it before.
Yeah, but you know, there's when you play.
But I was very familiar with NBA Jam.
There's gonna say that you have a second sense about these things,
right?
Yeah.
Poor kid never saw what was coming.
Yeah.
Uh, Tech says, never played Final Fantasy X as intended. How dare you? That's like saying you only watched the DS9 bad upscales. First off, how dare you, sir?
These are pushing your buttons.
I'm older than you and watched them when they broadcast live. I am also well aware of the horrendously dark color render of the DVD versions of them. I also have a full AI upscale set that I have possession of DS9 that is so much better. So, how dare you? But yes, no, I could fully understand how saying, I've watched DS9 and the only thing you've ever watched is the DVD release. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Voyager was just as bad. No, the DVD release of Voyager at least had some color. DS9 was already fairly dark. The problem is they darkened it so much that it had no contrast to it. So every scene was dark and muted. And that's not what the original was. The original did have some color. It had some bright scenery. It had elements within the dark frame that you could identify as the side of a person's face instead of just like a silhouette.
Yeah.
The DVD release is awful for DS9.
Yeah. This was probably back in the day when they were just slapping everything on a DVD and not even looking at it and selling it. Yeah.
It's exactly.
Yeah, I remember
right.
that.
Yeah. Now DS9 was originally filmed on film. So there's still a glimmer of a chance, just like TNG, we will get a full remaster, recolor, re-render.
High-res scan of it or something
high-res
like that.
scan of the original DS9. Voyager, we will never get.
As digital,
It was recorded on the very first digital cinema cameras at 480i. The resolution and the color that you have there is the resolution and color that you get. So, yeah,
they could try using AI upscaling to see if it'll look better. But you'll probably get the same results as the GTA remasters.
Honestly, if they went scene by scene, if someone did, camera cut for camera cut and did some AI upscaling, it could work. The problem is it's going to be a hell of a lot of work even to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if there's that much demand for Voyager.
I think there's more than you might imagine.
Really?
It doesn't get the hate it once did.
Yeah, but it's never on everyone's like top favorite. Like yes, it was enjoyable. I watched every single episode, just as I watched every single episode of DS9.
Yep.
But it was watchable. I think people like talking about their most hated episodes of Voyager than they talk about their favorite episodes of Voyager.
Yeah, and that's always been my criticism of Voyager. Here we go. Here's some Star Trek talk.
Okay.
Is the highs in Voyager are just as high as TNG and arguably DS9. I think DS9 went a little bit higher at the peak, especially because of the full-on story arc that they had with the Dominion War and everything else. I think there's more on the line in some of the storylines of DS9 than there are in Voyager and TNG. But that's arbitrary. Individual episodic episodes, you have just as many highs, or you have peaks that are just as high. You have episodes that are 9.5 out of 10. My problem with Voyager is you have a lot more lows and they dip a little deeper.
Yeah.
DS9 has, for an entire episode, we watched the command crew play hopscotch. Alan count to 4. Alan then 3 more. That was a full episode. Voyager has like 4 episodes on Fairhaven. Yeah. On Janeway, sympathy banging her way through a holographic town. And then trying to get us to feel bad for her afterwards.
Yeah.
Go do your thing in the holodeck and come back like a normal person. It's
don't
fine.
Need to film it, dude.
You don't have to film it. Right.
Putting it in Janeway spank bank.
Right? Just make sure the ensigns clear the biofilter. It's fine.
That's fine, yeah. I want to see that episode of Lower Decks.
Justice for two Vics. Janeway made the right decision.
Yeah.
The life of two over the life of one. Nothing in Trek could be as bad as SWHS.
SWHS. Star Wars. Is that a Star Wars one?
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, no! I've actually watched the Star Wars Holiday Special.
There's an XKCD for that.
Well, no, I watched the Riff Tracks version of it. Then it's funny.
There you go.
That is funny.
There's an XKCD that says really good movie, really bad movie. Movie that's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Like, yeah, I can't imagine watching it without some kind of commentary or with a group of people that you would sit there and rip on it the whole time.
There is 9 minutes of unsubtitled Wookiee dialogue.
Yeah. Between Lumpy and Mala. And what's the
Let me say that. Let me say that again. There are 9 minutes of unsubtitled Wookiee dialogue.
and not only that, one of the Wookiees is old and toothless.
Right. And speaks with a lisp, I think.
Yeah, I think. A Wookiee lisp.
Yeah. Voyager's good. DS9's good. TNG's good. Enterprise is good.
I did enjoy all the Voyager first-person shooters. See that?
Elite Force is
Elite Force 1 and 2. They were very fun. I liked them.
Peak Star Trek game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I think we've come to that point in the night.
I think we have.
Great show, everyone. Thank you so much for watching episode 338 of Talking Heads right here on Craft Computing. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. You'll get access to the exclusive Discord server. We do an after party immediately following every live show where we jump on for another hour or two, and you can ask us questions live on camera. It's just a giant video chat. It's awesome. Babylon 5 is better than everything.
I don't know.
It's fighting words. Definitely fighting words.
I did enjoy Babylon 5.
I enjoyed Babylon 5. I enjoyed Stargate. I enjoyed Atlantis. I enjoyed a lot of series that were in that same time frame and style.
Yeah.
Still think DS9 is better. There you go. And it's my show, damn it. Anyway, Steve, anything good to the order before we close off for the night?
No, I think I'm good.
Sweet. Cool. Farscape. Oh, now we're getting into the weeds.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Now we're getting into the weeds. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you